Connect the dots.
There are 16 novels that are considered canonical, including young adult novels, novellas, and an anthology. If you were to buy them all at the Amazon Kindle retail price, it would cost you $171.16. Now, remember, I haven't read any of these. The point of this section, and the next, is to decide which I should seek out. That being the case, my opinion will be based on the synopsis of the book and the reviews of others. Ultimately, I'm looking for how closely it relates to the main story, as opposed to just stuff that happened at the same time in a galaxy a little bit further away, and, well, if it looks good. Dark Disciple. This is the story of an assassination attempt on Count Dooku that was obviously unsuccessful, by Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. The story is based on an unproduced arc of Clone Wars, so if you liked Clone Wars, this is more of that. Whether or not I end up reading this story will greatly depend on how I feel by the end of the Clone Wars TV series. If I want more, I may pick this one up. Until then, it gets a strong maybe. Lords of the Sith. This takes place shortly after the events of Episode 3 and features the new buddy team of Vader and Palpatine. Two Darth, two Sidious. Joking aside, while some of the promotional text for this makes it sound like a slash fanfic, they will find their relationship tested as never before. With only their lightsabers, the dark side of the Force, and each other to depend on, the two Sith must decide if the brutal bond they share will make them victorious allies or lethal adversaries. It does sound like an interesting concept. I'm all about looking at multiple sides of the same story, and if there's one thing the movies lack, it's tales from the dark side. Most of the movies are told through the perspective of the good guys. Even the end of Episode 3 mostly follows Obi-Wan. I'll probably read this. Tarkin. Another novel about the years between the Lucas trilogies, this one focused on Grand Moff Tarkin's rise through the ranks and the construction of the first Death Star. I'm slightly less interested in this character as a whole, but as I said, I appreciate stories from the other side of the conflict, so I'll probably give this one a go. Another strong maybe. A New Dawn. Yet another novel set between Episodes 3 and 4. This one chronicles the story of how the lead characters from the TV show Star Wars Rebels got together. Well, if I like the show, I suppose I'll want to know more. I'll put this in the maybe pile. Rise of the Empire. Alright, what's this one about? Oh. It's the last two books we just talked about, plus 3 new short stories. And it costs the same price as both of the other books individually? Seems like a no-brainer. I guess I will be reading Tarkin's story. Battlefront Twilight Company. A novelization of the video game Star Wars Battlefront, it follows a renegade outfit of the rebellion. Can you be a renegade in a rebellion? Aren't they all renegades? As they fight the Empire. This one takes place between Episodes 4 and 5, and is apparently more of an in-the-trenches kind of story as opposed to grand space opera. However, this line in the description, "Then, an unlikely ally radically changes the strategic equation and gives the Alliance's hardest fighting warriors a crucial chance to turn retreat into resurgence," leads me to believe that Luke Skywalker shows up at some point in the third act. Though it's supposedly well written and a good story, it doesn't interest me as much as some of the others. That, along with the higher price, make me want to kick this one to the back burner. I probably won't pick this one up. Heir to the Jedi. Another story between New Hope and Empire. This one follows Luke exclusively. By the reviews I've read, it does give a deeper understanding of the character as he struggles to find his place in the galaxy. Sounds good. I'll put it in with the maybes. Aftermath. Set after the events of Jedi, this book focuses on what happens to Wedge Antilles after the Battle of Endor. Obviously, any book that sheds some light on what happened between Jedi and The Force Awakens is worth at least looking into, but it's disappointing that the main cast aren't even mentioned in the description. It's unclear if they show up at all in supporting roles, but I'd be interested to find out. I'll probably read this at some point. Aftermath. Life Debt. There is very little description in the Amazon listing about what's included in this book, mostly just saying it continues the story from the first book. The subtitle, Life Debt, leads me to believe that Han Solo and Chewbacca are involved. I don't know if Chewie owing a life debt to Han is canon anymore, though. We may have to wait for the Han Solo prequels to find out. I guess I'll have to read this one too. New Republic, Bloodline. This book hasn't been released yet. It's set to hit virtual shelves in May of this year. It takes place 6 years before the events of Episode 7. I'm sure I'll pick this one up at some point too. This is getting expensive. The Perfect Weapon. Remember the gal in Maz Kanata's cantina who sold out our heroes to the First Order? Here's a short story about her. She undertakes a mission to retrieve something for Kylo Ren. Minor book spoilers ahead. From what I've heard, we're never told what it was she picked up, Pulp Fiction style. Most people seem to think it was Vader's charred helmet. This seems like the least necessary story to read in the time period before the new film, but the low price point and direct connection mean I may pick it up anyway. Say, I wonder if the droid that alerted the Resistance in the same scene will get his own short story where he brings a mysterious and unnamed item to Maz Kanata from the Cloud City, and then hangs around her castle for the next 30 years. Journey to the Force Awakens. These aren't on the official canon list in Wikipedia, but they appear to be completely canonical. It's 4 short stories, High Noon on Jakku, about a renegade droid, The Face of Evil, about a thief on Takodana, which is apparently the name of Maz Kanata's planet, All Creatures Great and Small, which is about one of the other scavengers on Jakku telling stories to calm everyone down, and The Crimson Corsair and the Lost Treasure of Count Dooku, which follows a band of space pirates on a treasure hunt. None of these seem terribly important, canonically speaking, but the low price point may tip the scales for me. Maybe pile. Before the Awakening. This picture book focuses on the lives of Rey, Poe, and Finn before the events of the movie. It's unclear as to how much detail it goes into, but this one may be worth checking out. Lost Stars. A young adult novel about 2 characters who ended up on opposite sides of the conflict in episodes 4 through 6. The story gives a different perspective on the events of those movies and hints about episode 7. Sounds like this one will have to be a yes as well. Journey to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. 3 YA novels, The Weapon of a Jedi, Smuggler's Run, and Moving Target, that feature Luke, Han and Chewie, and Princess Leia respectively on various rebellion missions between episodes 4 and 5 for Jedi and Smuggler, and 5 and 6 for Moving Target. According to the description, they all have hints about episode 7. They know how to get me, I guess. I'll put these in the yes pile. Well, that's it for all the books. So far, looking at only those I gave a firm yes to, I'm looking at $93.27 given to Amazon. As a side note, between starting the script for this episode and finishing it, I discovered that my brother owns an author-signed copy of Dark Discipline, so I will be reading that, but didn't include it in the total price. We haven't even started on the comics. Tune in for part 3, where we discover if the comics, video games, and whatever else will force me to get a small business loan to support my little YouTube channel. Until then, You know what to do.